Hi, my name is Clarence Cheadle. I will be presenting my article first, and it's about assessments in mathematics. There are three different types of assessments that can be given: assessments for learning, which are formative assessments, assessments of learning, which are summative assessments, and assessments as learning. Today, I'll be discussing the three different types and why I believe that they should all be given in the classroom. As working in my district, some of the math teachers believe that you should only have one assessment given in the classroom, but my opinion is that we should have all three because they all provide something different. Assessments for learning, formative assessments, they are assessments for learning is an ongoing assessment that allows teachers to monitor students on a day-to-day basis and modify their teaching based on what the students need to be successful. This assessment provides students with the timely specific feedback that they need to make adjustments to their learning. After teaching a lesson, we need to determine whether the lesson was accessible to all students while still challenging to the more capable, what the students learned and still need to know, how we can improve the lesson to make it more effective, and if necessary, what other lesson might we offer as a better alternative. This continual evaluation of instructional choices is at the heart of improving our teaching practice. Assessments of learning, summative assessments. Assessment of learning is the snapshot in time that lets the teacher, students, and their parents know how well each student has completed the learning tasks and activities. It provides information about student achievement while it provides useful reporting information. It often has little effect on learning. Right here is a table comparing assessments for learning and assessments of learning. The assessments for learning, formative assessment, it checks learning to determine what to do next and then provides suggestions of what to do. Teaching and learning are indistinguishable from assessment. Assessments of learning, summative assessments, checks what has been learned to date. Formative assessment is designed to assist educators and students in improving learning. Is used continually by providing descriptive feedbacks, usually uses detailed, specific, and descriptive feedback in a formal or informal report. Is not reported as part of the achievement grade, usually focuses on improvement compared with the student's previous best, self-reference, making learning more personal, and involves the student. Summative assessments is designed for the information of those not directly involved in daily learning and teaching, school administration, parents, school board, etc. In addition to educators and students, is presented in a periodic report, usually compiles data into a single number, score, or mark as part of a formal report, is reported as part of an achievement grade, usually compares the students' learning either with other students' learning, non-norm reference, making learning highly competitive, or the standard for a grade level criterion referenced, making learning more collaborative and individually focused, does not always involve the student. So that's comparing the two assessments. And lastly, assessment as learning. Assessment as learning develops and supports students' metacognitive skills. This form of assessment is crucial in helping students become lifelong learners. As students engage in peer and self assessment, they learn to make sense of information related to prior knowledge and use it for new learning. Students develop a sense of ownership and efficacy when they use teacher, peer, and self assessment feedback to make adjustments, improvements, and changes to what they understand. So, going over the three different types of assessments, I do believe that all three assessments used in the classroom will benefit the student in the long run. Now, if we're just looking at doing one assessment for the students, then what are we accomplishing by cutting them short of being assessed on further levels? So, that is my article. Just something to think about when our district meets here in Roswell, New Mexico, about how we should assess students in the classroom. And now on to my lesson plan. My lesson plan is on the number system. Here's my lesson plan laid out. It's going to be 8th grade. Student will need to be able to classify numbers to their appropriate number system. Um, Basically, my first part of my lesson, the students will need to know their vocabulary, natural numbers, which are considered counting numbers too, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, real numbers. Um, Materials that will be required is a calculator. Um, I will provide them with a note page that we will take notes on. The first worksheet, which would be partnered up, and then the last worksheet, which will be individualized. Um, when we begin the note taking, I will show you the worksheets, note worksheets, and the two other worksheets that will be worked out. Um, my guided instruction is just basically the notes worksheet. We will go over that. Partner work, we will be allow the students to partner up, and we will give them about 10 minutes to complete the partner worksheet. And then after that is completed, we will move on to the student worksheet, which is individualized. Then we will have a small little quiz that I will provide from them. It's going to be basically teacher provided, and I will basically make it up for the students. Now, to our note sheet. Here's our note sheet, the real number system. So basically, the students have the word. They will need to fill in each definition. They will need to provide an example. Then they will need to give me non-examples. And we will work on this together in class. Then down at the bottom is a graphic organizer. Students will need to place the words in the correct area, which I will show them. Then after we have taken notes, we will complete our partner worksheet. Our partner worksheet is this as follows. On the left side, we have a few questions. On the right side, we have a few questions. The top two boxes are samples that the students may follow. Students will look at sample one and we will look at it together to understand what we're doing. Then we will look at sample two, fill that one out together, and then the partners will get together and work. What number system sets would include 3? Check as many as applies. And as sample 1 shows us, 3 is a natural, whole, integer, rational, and real number. So on the following, the students will fill out the left side. Sample 2. Provide 3 examples of rational numbers. Do your numbers belong to any other number sets? If so, list them next to your numbers. So down here it shows you 15.75 and 16 fifths. Next to them, they would have to list, just like our sample shows us. So 15 is a natural, whole, integer, rational, and real. 0.75 is just a rational and real. 16 fifths is the exact same as 0.75, it's a rational and real. Then they will answer the following questions. Once their time is up with this, we will move on to our last worksheet. Our last worksheet basically is another graphic organizer that the students will fill out, but this time they will have to add 2 values to each set of numbers. Then down below that, they have they have to decide which sets the given number belongs in and circle it. And then lastly on this, write 2 questions you still have about number systems. Right here, I'd like just to know if they're still struggling on certain areas. If they are, I want 2 questions so I can understand where they're struggling. And then lastly, we'll have the quiz, which would be made up by me. So I will show you real quick how to fill that out. So right here we have natural numbers. We would click there and we would just fill out the definition. We would say then we will provide an example. And you may provide more than just one example, but just as an example here, we will do that. And then a non-example. And then after we've completed that whole area, we would move on down here to do our graphic organizer. Our graphic organizer basically is just plotting all our number systems. So this first one would be real numbers. My next area would be rational numbers. My next one would be integers. My next one is whole numbers, natural numbers, and then over here would be my irrational numbers. Okay, and that is my notes page completed. Once that is completed, like I said, we would move on to our partner worksheet. Our partner worksheet basically we would be able to fill out. Once that is completed, like I said, we would move on to this graphic organizer. And this one's just like the other one. We would have real, rational, integer, whole, natural, and then on this side we would have our irrational. And then down here we would just basically, like I said, we would circle 4 plus rad 13, and we basically would circle what 4 plus rad 13 would be. So we would circle it's irrational, and then we would have real. And they would continue that on. And then, like I said, with the questions, I would like something like what or why would 3 be a real number? And that would give me something to talk over with the class and that student for asking the question. And that is my lesson plan.